Got some people showing up. That's good. And just checking out some settings, making sure we're good on our end. It's the Hank Pajan's in the background getting ready. If y'all got questions for Seth Mycko, he's a fisheries biologist for our region, for NC Wildlife. And he is also a tournament bass fisherman, so he knows what we like and what we need to know. So, got some good questions, fire them up, put them in the comments. I'll make sure that we try to get to all questions we can see come through there. And should be good. Should be good. We're going to cover, basically, we're going to cover the first probably 4 events. Those lakes, we got Bellows Lake, Jordan Lake, Yadkin Chain, and Hyco. So we'll discuss some of this stuff with Seth when he gets here. And right now, let me pull in Mr. Hank Fajon. Make sure he's paying attention. Here we go.
What's up,
Lots
guys?
going on.
I got Seth here. He's down in Louisiana. He's logging in right now. He's at you know how that Louisiana internet is. I hope Chad Hoover isn't listening, but Louisiana internet's it's a little crazy.
Yeah,
they got that Cajun internet.
Yeah, it's a little spicy. That's all good. It's all good.
Oh man, Seth, you good? Okay, good. I'm gonna let you go. All right. While he's gonna be logging in, I'll tell everyone the story.
Yeah.
I was at one of the KBF national championships down there, and I went.
Mhm.
You know me, I'm not going to Caddo. I'm going to like some weird lake that nobody else is fishing. Right?
You know, backwaters that are only filled with alligators and no people.
Yeah, right. Well, this one was actually filled with people and no alligators. There was like one gator on the whole lake. And I went there, and it was an interesting place. And I'm at the ramp, and this old lady pulls up while I'm launching. She just takes out a bucket, sits on it, and puts out like a fishing pole with some like a minnow on it or something. And this guy rolls up, you know, and he's fresh out of like church, it looks like. And it's like a Tuesday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes over, he's talking to me, he's looking around. And she goes, "Are you so and so's son?" And they started talking in this absolutely beautiful dialect that they have down there. And like because they like clicked, you know, like someone knew her from the family and church and everything. And I just sat there for like 20 minutes. I wasn't even fishing. I was like mesmerized. It was hypnotizing that they just turned the switch on and they started talking this other language basically, which is like, you know, it was like Creole, you know.
Right.
I was just blown away. And these two people had this random encounter. She hadn't seen this guy since in like 30 years since he was a little kid, and she recognized him there. And that's the kind of like crazy thing you see happen in Louisiana when you're fishing down there. It's like there's such a strong sense of like local life around those lakes, man. I've never seen anything like it. They're not just like go launch a boat, don't talk to anybody. It's like everybody around there, like even the dock owners would come out and talk to me, and the pets were friendlier. Like dogs wouldn't bark, like they'd just come up and be like wagging their tails and stuff. It was wild, man. I love going down there to fish. It's like going to another country.
Right. We got Seth Mycko sitting here. Let's bring him in. There he is, the only guy without gray in his beard.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
How are y'all? What's up, Seth?
Good to see you tonight.
Good to see you too, man. What are you doing in Louisiana?
We are at the Southern Division of the American Fisheries Society meeting. So it's, I think, 11 states in the Southeast are all getting together to talk about all kinds of fish, not just sport fish, but mussels and crayfish and all kinds of fisheries and aquatics conservation. So there's probably, a couple hundred people here.
Yeah. So I think I have a pretty good idea. So you have the American Fisheries Society, which is the big organization, and then you have regional chapters, basically, right? And the regions get together and do their thing too, because the regions might have more in common.
Yeah.
or like, the Southeast has more in common than it does with the Northwest, or something like that. So this is
Yeah.
like a smaller version of the annual big conference.
Yes. And there is a nationwide conference as well that happens every summer.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
that's
so I
probably,
follow that one. I
yeah.
follow them on Facebook, and I read some of the publications from time to time. I love it.
Nice.
So what do you guys do there? Are you giving a paper? Or are you chairing a
Oh yeah.
panel?
So I'm actually presenting on some stuff we did with white bass in Falls Lake. So we actually track their spawning migrations out of the reservoir, the flat and the Eno River there.
Uh-huh. So I'm going
And
there
then we've
tomorrow to
got,
look for white bass. Where should I go?
oh, they're probably not quite up to spawning grounds yet. Um, that red mill access might be a good place to start.
Hmm.
And then by the middle of March, they'll be all the way up to Penny's Bend and
Hmm.
that area up the Flat River up there near the game
Yeah.
lands.
Uh-huh. So I should go.
Yeah. I mean, it'd still be worth it. I just wouldn't go all the way up river. You'll be putting a kayak in, I assume, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would just put in at Red Mill, and you go either go down to the flat and work up, or just start right there at Red Mill and start working up till you run
Uh,
into them. They should be grouped up somewhere in there.
I love the white bass run. For me, it's like the start of the year.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite things in the world.
yeah. There's some good
And
largemouth in there, those rivers too, that probably are
oh,
less pressured than the lake fish are, slightly
oh yeah.
less.
Well, there ain't no largemouth in there, and I'm not. There's nothing in there. There's nothing. Ain't no largemouth. So we brought you on. Thanks for taking the time to do this. We brought you on to talk about some of our early lakes that are on the CKA schedule this year. This is
Yeah,
something that you did before with our friend Mitch Lassiter and CCKF. I've known you for years, Seth, and done work with you with the commission, right? But we've never had you on here on CKA. But when Mitch folded up his club, we were like, you know, let's give Seth some work to do. So um, let's keep this ball rolling because you
yeah,
do have a lot of amazing information. I used to watch some of your visits on the CCKF show, um, and I was always learning stuff about that. And every year is different. Every lake
yeah.
changes. So let's go through some
That's
of these
right.
lakes, and you do your thing, and just give us your point of view
Okay.
as a fisheries biologist, but also as someone who likes to catch bass. What you
Yeah,
think about some of these lakes?
that's right. Yeah, I didn't have a ton of time to put like something too good together here, but I've got uh, some slides I can show you.
Oh wow, slides.
Okay,
I'll be
can you see my screen?
no.
Um,
Oh,
Eric, is there an enable or share screen function on there?
yeah, I don't know if I can. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, I can't see his, unfortunately.
What if he sends it to your Bass Trail account? Can you put it up then?
Probably could.
Okay, so we're going to do that and get him talking in a moment. So
Hmm. See if I can share this.
there we go.
We should have got together a little earlier, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was going to bring technology into it.
Right, right. Yeah.
He's got that. Here we go. Eric Nelson at Bass Trail. So okay, I just sent you guys an email. We
Yeah.
got each other's thing.
Yeah, Seth's sharing the wrong thing, I think, on that one. Unless you can change your screens.
Where'd he go?
y'all
There he
hear
is.
me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
What are you seeing on your side?
I got the video thing part of it. So if you change the tabs on your Yeah. I don't know where your slides are.
From stage. Hang on. Let's try this again.
All right. We'll get it right. We're kind of new at this live on demand thing. So
Entire screen. Window.
and if you guys that are watching, you got questions, let us know. And there's a chat deal that comes through, we can see. So send you questions and whatnot, and we can make sure, see if Seth has some info for you.
What do y'all see now?
All right, now I can see it. Hold on.
You see CKA live? Because
Oh yeah, look at that.
I can't see you anymore. So
yeah, I know how that works. It's crazy. If you don't have a couple screens, it's hard.
Just do your thing, Seth. You got it.
okay. So I think we said what? We said Ballew's Creek, High Rock, and we were talking Jordan as well, right?
Right.
And Hyco.
High Rock, our District 6 folks, they electrofished it back almost a year ago. And these were the sites they did in April of 2025. So basically the entire lake.
Wow.
Even a few areas on the main lake there, you can see it's site 11 and site 1. They're basically right off the main river. So they're covering pretty much the whole lake when they go to High Rock and catching a bunch of good fish.
So these are electroshock surveys?
Yep. These are standardized transects. So they're probably anywhere from 500 to 1,000 meters of the shoreline at each dot.
Okay.
And
Well,
this
that's
was
10 football fields. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's probably at least 2 hours of what we call pedal time, which is probably 3 to 5 full days on the lake with the workup and everything. So this was the size structure they caught at High Rock last year. They caught 229 total fish, and you can see how many of those are over 400 millimeters. 400 millimeters, about 16 inches. So there's a good amount of fish out there in that 16 to 22 inch size class right now at High Rock.
So it's a healthy lake.
It is, yeah. And hopefully these are the fish that are starting to pull up under them docks. What time of year y'all going to be there this year?
May 2nd.
Okay.
We're going to actually
so there might be post.
Yeah, it'll be a little post, and it'll be I know I fished there early May before, and there was some late spawners still sitting there, but there's definitely
High Rock's unique in that it's got that southern flat swamp creek, clean water, clear water. I wonder if those fish, because they have more sunlight in that water, I wonder if those will spawn a little earlier and be off the bed by the time y'all get there versus the lake. They might spawn a little later.
Right. Possibly. We got 4 clubs going to this event.
Okay.
Queen City, Foothills, Port City, plus CKA. So it's going to be an interesting event this lake.
Yeah. And the other interesting tidbit that we look at is the age structure. So there was a ton of fish age 1, 2, and 3 in the last year's survey. So those fish right now are probably 6 to 12 inches. But 3 years from now, those fish should be 12 to 19 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So we should see a lot of that meaty size class recruit up to those older years. And you can see they caught fish all the way out to 13 years old.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And those, Hank, those are those old bass, I tell you, that are there that probably don't bite because they've seen a million spinnerbaits. These are those fish. When they're in the reservoir 10, 11, 12, 13 years, they've seen a lot of lures. So those are the ones that are really hard to trick.
Yeah, those are the smart ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
you can see,
how big would you say a 13-year-old fish could be?
oh, it could be anywhere from 6 to 9 pounds.
Okay.
And I've got some Jordan data that can really show you that growth rate in Jordan in particular.
Mm.
So those are the two things I looked at. Well, and I can send these whole reports out to you guys, but these are the two things that struck me at High Rock: just that number of large fish, and then what's coming behind them with that young population being so robust right now.
That's great to see for that lake. That's good
Yeah,
news.
and then Baden, I think you had Baden on the schedule as well.
It's all
So
the same
this is
tournament.
oh, it's all you could go to any lake you want in the Yadkin.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this was the entire, including the 2024 survey. This was all the surveys they did at Baden going back to 2005. And you can see 2024 was the highest frequency of a fish over 356 millimeters, which is right at 14 inches. So there's a lot of those 14 plus fish out there. And you see we're just staying steady at these fish. You know, the mean length at age 3 is right at 370 millimeters, which is just healthy fish at that age class.
So that's does
As long as we
that mean that's
see,
a very stable fishery that
it
everything's like
does.
kind
Yeah,
of
as long as we see age threes in there, and they're 70 to 60 to 70% of the population, and this metric staying stable, that those fish are just happy and living life. They ain't got no major sources of competition. They're just doing their thing. So
interesting.
Baden for now is in good shape, but I hear there might be some Alabama's getting caught here and there at Baden, but that's not confirmed yet in Baden.
Where else, are they in other parts of the chain?
They're in Tillery, and I collected one from a weigh-in at High Rock years ago.
Okay.
So we know they're around all of those lakes. They're in the uppermost lake and the lowermost lake. So odds are someone's put them in every lake in that chain.
So
Yeah,
we
for
did a
sure.
tournament in 2021 at uh, the other um, um, Scott Reservoir, right? And they were
Yeah.
electrofishing while we were pre-fishing. And I spoke with the
Okay.
biologist. Me and Ricky Rowland were talking to them, and they said that those fish, those Alabama bass, were going to eventually end up in the Yadkin River and
Yeah.
come downstream.
Yeah. Yeah. A biologist in the mountain calls it a leaky faucet. So as soon as they get upstream of any reservoir, they're going to leak, out of that reservoir downstream into all the other ones slowly over time. And I've got more on those critters later too.
Yeah.
But that's Baden. And then the other cool thing about Baden is we look at what's called relative weight, which is basically how plump the fish are, their weight in relation to their length. And 100 is usually a good metric to be. 100 and up is like a good high quality fish. It means that for you guys, it don't mean a lot because it means they're going to weigh more, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be longer. They might even be a little shorter if they have a high relative weight. So you might even be wanting the fish down here. But you can see all these fish that were above 100 at Baden. So those fish are just eating all they can eat and keeping that weight packed on.
Nice. There's plenty of food then.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Baden used to have some good threadfin in it, but this winter might have changed that dramatically.
Right.
Interesting.
So that is D6. I can't speak to the exact ins and outs of those lakes because they're not in District 5, which is outside of my coverage area. And then we have our baby here in D5, which is arguably still the best bass lake in the state, even though those coastal rivers are still pumping them out.
Yeah, it's hard to say there's a better big fish fishery than Jordan right now.
Yeah. So Jordan over time is just super stable, great bass fishery. We catch anywhere from 40 to 80 fish per hour when we electrofish. So, in 1 hour of pedal time, we could catch 40 to 70 bass.
Wow. We got Seth, we have an angler. His name's Will Lambert. He does that. He catches about 40 to 80 per hour.
Well, I need to hire him to help me then.
There you go.
And this PSDP value. So years ago in the early 80s, a bunch of fish biologists got together and decided what a preferred length bass is. So there's 73% of the bass in Jordan in 23 were of that preferred length, which I think is like 16 to 20 inches.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a huge percentage.
Yeah. Which is kind of an arbitrary number. You know, you could put any number in that preferred category you want, but it's just a good way to say, yeah, there's some good quality fish in there.
Right.
73 is unheard of in most reservoirs. So that's just how special Jordan is.
What accounts for that? Why is it so good?
Well, a lot of it's that, you know, just that productivity coming down the Hall River. So the Hall pumps a lot of nutrients into Jordan, and that filters up the food chain pretty rapidly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know where I'm going tomorrow now.
The best rule of thumb is the dirtier the water, the more productivity it's going to have. There could be some differences within that, but that's a good rule of thumb. So that's why Norman's not as good at producing big fish, in addition to other issues it has. It's low productivity as well.
Nice.
And then our growth rates at Jordan are next to none. So we've found 4-year-old bass in Jordan that are almost like 19 inches long at 4 years old.
What?
And then at 500 millimeters, I think is closer to 20 inches or so. And we're seeing 500 millimeter fish at like 4.5, 5 years old. So those fish they're born, they start eating, and they get to it.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
We've caught this, and this was 2023. So that was the year we caught our 17-year-old bass in Jordan. So there's one fish that was 17 in Jordan Lake.
Wow. I mean,
that
how
one's
does a
probably
bass live that long? It's not like we're in Florida.
They've been documented to make it to 20 to 22 years in some places. Anywhere that they have stable conditions and not a lot of competition from other apex predators, they can really survive. And there's no harvest of largemouth anymore. We're basically all catching and releasing them, so they're just living as long as they want to live, as long as they don't get incidentally killed in a live well or something like that, which is super minuscule in the population scheme.
Right.
So
that's amazing.
And this curve, like some other lakes, you'll see this curve be a lot flatter on this left side, but at Jordan it just shoots up. But it does taper off at every reservoir, and that's what this value is here. It's the theoretical maximum length of the fish in the lake, which is about 555 millimeters.
Wow.
So it's a bass factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what it seems to prove, every week I see a 30-pound bag plus coming out of there for these tournaments.
Yeah. Now, I do agree. I've heard a lot of complaints that the fishing has gotten tougher there. I do agree with that, but the fish are still there to be caught. They're just very hard to get to bite right now.
Yeah.
So that's an important caveat for Jordan that we always have to tell the anglers. They're still there. They're just not wanting to bite.
Yeah. Well, they got enough pings in their face. They're kind of going to turn off a little bit, I would think.
We can stop here, and if anybody out there in Cyberland has any questions about Jordan,
yeah, if you guys get questions, green devils.
We actually catch some of our biggest fish in our electrofishing surveys are in the Hall River, which I found surprising because I don't ever fish down there in the Hall. I fish up around Ebenezer a lot in Beaver Dam Creek, but some of our biggest bass are right there around Pose Ridge and down around the Hall.
They must have got in there by accident. I fish there all the time. There ain't no bass in there.
He's a known liar. He gives, he's the reason why fishermen have bad reputations. So don't listen to him.
It's just crappie. You guys mislabeled some crappie in there.
Those are stripers. Right? Yeah, the Green Dave said, speak more on your thoughts on impacts to threadfin this winter when we iced up.
Yeah, I'm sure there were big keels at most reservoirs. I know McIntosh had a big one. And it'll knock them back a good bit, but they'll never kill them all. And we'll have to get a few good shad spawns, and they'll come back around. And as long as we don't get another harsh winter, they'll come back in a few years.
Right.
So it's a roller coaster ride of good years with mild winters like we had, and now they're hammered back down to the bottom again.
Yeah.
But threadfin aren't even native to North Carolina. They're native to where I'm sitting right now in the Delta, in the Mississippi Delta. They were brought to North Carolina as an agricultural fertilizer product years ago and got loose. They're really not even supposed to be in the state.
Wow.
So that's why you never see a stock on them in any reservoirs or do anything to remediate a shad kill, a threadfin kill. And the gizzards really are a lot more cold tolerant.
Right. What?
Here's a question from somebody here. What are some of the other reasons Norman doesn't produce large? Yeah, the Alabama bass is a huge issue there, which is a different conversation,
right,
of how that dynamic plays out with the largemouth. But it's just the littoral zone is so developed there with all the seawalls and the dredging around the docks and lack of vegetation. There's just not a lot of littoral habitat for largemouth bass there. And, anytime a tree falls, they're probably going to cut it up and remove it. So there's just it's not good largemouth habitat in Georgia and Norman in general. So,
right.
And then you add the Alabama bass competition on top of it not being a great habitat, and then you really got a double-edged sword.
Right. And all those spotted bass just kind of force the largemouth to run upstream, get into.
They do, yeah.
Areas.
They kind of take over any of the cleanest, deepest water. They just elbow the largemouth out of town because they can't compete for the same resources. We hope that the F1s will be a better competitor, but we're not ready to say that yet. We hope that we'll at least be bolstering the largemouth population with the F1 stocking there.
Yeah, if we could stock like 10,000 10-pounders,
if we could grow them, it'd be a lot of money to grow them to 10 pounds, but we could try. You want to pass the hat.
Right. Just trying to shoot ideas out there. On that.
Seth, can I take you back to the first question real quick?
Yeah.
So how do largemouth bass respond to a shad kill when that forage base disappears?
Yeah. I mean, they're probably down there gorging when it's actually occurring. So I'm sure that they ate all they wanted to eat.
Yeah, we noticed that at Harris a few years ago.
Yeah.
We had a tournament and the shad kill happened that week, and there was shad dead everywhere. Birds are having a field day, and the bass, you couldn't get a bite to save your life because they were.
I'm sure it makes it really hard to throw artificial lures when they have all that dying natural shad down there.
Yeah. But there's so much shad in these lakes.
And we have a ton of gizzard shad.
All of them, right?
Yeah. We have a ton of gizzard shad that are going to spawn they spawn all throughout the summer, and the bass are going to eat those small gizzards as well. So there'll still be plenty of food in these reservoirs, even if the threadfin die off for a little while.
Yeah.
And the bluegill too. There's a lot of bluegill in most reservoirs that the bass will hone in on from time to time.
Yeah.
Their city lakes especially are more bluegill dominated forage bases than shad dominated in some places.
Yeah, I noticed like at Lake Raleigh, I fished there quite a few times back a few years ago, and I was amazed at the size of the gizzard shad that came out of her largemouth's mouth. It was just insane. It must have been 18 inches or something. They'll go after them. Now they will eventually get too big for any fish to eat, and
then they're just a bunch of biomass out there taking up some space in the reservoir. But there's a lot of the year gizzard shad that all the piscivorous fish are eating, especially stripers. Stripers love a small gizzard shad.
Mm. Right.
Jordan used to have a lot of stripers, but that didn't really work out.
We pulled the plug on Jordan in 2020. We could get them to about 18 inches, and then either we lost them completely, they went through the dam or died or something. But yeah, we just never saw a fish over 20 inches after 2020. So we just pulled the plug on the striper.
Good deal.
Any more questions on Jordan before we move past what I think is arguably the best lake in the state still, even though some people disagree? I'm a little biased when it comes to Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, I know Falls has been fishing well too. So
it has. I've noticed a lot of more bigger bags coming out of there in these tournaments too.
Well, we're going to be, just to put this in perspective, we're going to be at Jordan in mid-April. So that's always been a crazy time because I imagine now the lakes are warming up a little later, but the fish will move up soon. And
yeah, I'm not sure if temperature is the end all be all. We saw male white bass on the spawning grounds at like 9 degrees C, and that I forget what that equates to in Fahrenheit. But yeah, that's some cold water for fish to be getting ready to spawn, staging the spawn. So I think it's more about conditions and stability than water temperature.
Interesting.
48.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 48 degrees. So they were, it's crazy. Yeah, so is it more like the length of day has a big effect on it, right?
Yeah, you mean when they spawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger the female is, she'll, the more she'll have to wait. The eggs will have to heat up, and her body temperature will have to heat up quicker than a smaller female, and all that stuff.
Okay.
All right. Do you have Blues?
Yep, I got some info on Blues Creek. So, of course, it's full of those stupid Alabama bass. And this was 4 years of data combined from surveys out there, and 86% of all the catch was Alabama bass from those 4 years. So it's about almost a 90-10 split now. And at the max growth potential for all those Alabamas caught was only a 16.2 inch fish at Blues Creek. So that's like the max of the max, is like the biggest you're ever going to see out there is like a 16 to 17 incher.
So if you pull off, let's see, 5 fish in the 90s, you got a good chance to win. 90
Absolutely.
Inches.
You'd be lucky to get 90s.
You'd be lucky to. The 16s are still going to be real rare in that fishery, because there's a lot in that 300 millimeter size group right in here.
What's that put it at, like,
you can see in 2017 they didn't
70.
Yeah, in 2021 they didn't catch any above 6 years old. Now that could be some gear bias there, because that lake is so clear. They probably miss a lot of the bigger fish when they see the boat coming. But you see there are some older, larger fish missing, which might not necessarily be that they're not there. It's just that we missed them.
Gotcha.
Because in those clear lakes, especially like Mayo, we'll see them swimming in front of the boat as we're shocking along the shoreline, and they'll just jet away from us before the electricity even gets to them.
Wow, that's crazy. Someone had asked a question about Jordan, if you were still looking at stocking hybrids.
We are. We're still weighing all those options. The biggest issue is them escaping Jordan Lake and getting to the Cape Fear proper and messing with the true coastal striped bass run.
Gotcha.
If they escape the lake, so that's the biggest concern we have.
Yeah.
But we're definitely still considering it and talking about it with coastal staff.
Gotcha.
Are the Alabama bass in Blues, or obviously have dominated the lake, when were they first found in there, and how long did it take for them to take over?
Yeah, so that started shortly after Norman started. Norman would have been in the early 90s probably. I bet they've been in there since about '02 to '04. And it probably took them 10, 12 years to colonize. So we're just getting to that point where they're really taking hold in Blues Creek now. Because, it can take 20 to 30 years for them to colonize a reservoir. And we're probably right at that 25 to 30 year mark now. Which is why Gaston is so good, because it's only at like the 10-year mark. So it's not even a quarter of the way through colonization yet.
Wow. So some of these lakes here, let's say, downstream of McIntosh or, Jordan,
Yeah.
they still got a ways to go before this pattern repeats, if assuming it
Yeah.
will. So
Yeah. I mean, I
I
guess
think
we could,
that'll probably be
we,
right around the time I'm done fishing, so I'm good.
yeah, we could
That's
probably
selfish.
publicly talk about that now. This was April of 25. And you see, I put my little skull and crossbones here because I really don't like those fish. But this was all the reservoirs in the state and even the rivers now that are positive for some level of Alabama bass being present within them. And unfortunately, right here in Alamance County, there needs to be another addition. And then the other very unfortunate thing is that all the water in that reservoir that they're in Alamance County then flows to Jordan Lake.
Yep.
So that's something I'm very concerned about and going to be trying to watch closely over time.
Can we just drain that lake for a little bit?
Yeah, well, they need the water supply for the drinking water too, so we're going to definitely weigh our options. But there ain't much we can do once they're in, they're in. And luckily, that's the only one that I know of that's been captured so far.
So,
How the hell did they get in there?
I assume someone got them out of Blues Creek and brought them in a live well, is what my assumption is. We sent the genetics off, and we'll know, the exact mixture of that fish. But my guess would be someone went to Blues Creek and brought them back.
Wow.
It's another one of those city lakes that's been hammered pretty hard. It got really tough to fish and actually get bites. So someone must have gotten frustrated with the lack of success there, I think.
Yeah, I just don't get why you'd want to get rid of trophy fish I'd rather catch one 10-pounder than, 50
Me too.
12-inch fish. I don't get it.
It's so sad.
And,
so damn
Catching a lot of fish is fun. I get that a little bit, but
and over here in
there's a big one that's out there,
these coastal river systems, we don't know what they're gonna do, and because they're in the Roanoke from the tail race of the Roanoke Rapids Dam to where it gets salty. So we have no clue what they're going to do in those systems.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. Like he said, how bad and selfish could a fisherman be that can't catch a bass in one of these lakes? It's just.
No, I do concede that the fishing is getting tough in them small city municipal reservoirs. I do concede that, but that's just us pressuring them too much. There's no amount of biology we can do to fix that without anglers giving them a break.
Well, yeah, all the easy ones have been caught, and a lot of them get caught, and they get, the stupid ones get caught and killed, and the smarter ones are kind of left. So now you get a bunch of smart ones left. So
yeah, you catch it when it's 2 pounds, you release it. You catch it when it's 3 pounds, you release it at 4 pounds, and it's just learning over time. Every time it gets caught, what it does and does not need to do. But there's not a ton of science out there to support that theory yet, even though there is a lot coming down the pipe, I think, from universities.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And then I always throw this. This is how to identify those fish. And at the bottom is what we want every one you catch to turn into.
Right. Yep.
If you're not fishing where you have smallmouth and it has that tooth patch on the tongue, kill it. I don't care what it may look like on the outside because of these crazy hybrids we're seeing. But if you don't have smallmouth in your fishery, Then if it has that little tooth patch on the middle of the tongue, then kill it. I don't care where you catch it in the state of North Carolina.
Mm.
And that's straight from the NC biologist. So, you know, it's not just some.
Yeah. Now we're seeing some weird hybridization in the mountain reservoirs that have smallmouth. So they could be like 80% Alabama bass and still have some smallmouth genes. So that tooth patch thing can get funky out there.
Mm-hmm.
But basically in the Piedmont and the coast, if it has that tooth patch, do not release it. That's the surefire way to tell.
So, yeah, is that something that every tournament director should start promoting?
Yeah, for sure.
Like we catch, photo, release, but you know, at the same time,
even on a kayak, you know, you could, you know, whack them on the head and drag them behind the boat or something on a stringer. Or just throw them in the woods. Just don't put them back in the lake.
Yeah. Let the hawks eat them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Eric, let's just think around this for a second, right?
Right.
We have a rule that says catch, photo, release for the fish that you submit.
Right.
But if you have a limit of 14, 15-inch fish and you catch a few 12s, there's nothing that says you can't kill those and release them and throw them in the woods, right?
As long as we don't caught a bass. Someone may report you that you're throwing bass out in the woods for the hawks to eat.
Yeah, we don't have a limit on Alabama bass in the state at all. There's no minimum length limit and no creel limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, the limit that we're talking about is like your 5 fish limit for the tournament. Like if you already have a 5 fish limit and you catch a bunch of small Alabama bass, there's nothing that says you can't kill those and throw them up in the woods because you already have your limit and you're not going to submit those for judging and they don't have to be released, right? So,
no.
I would suggest taking a photo or a video of you doing that just so people know, hey, this is a spot. Throw it in the woods, whatever. Fine. You know,
and it's always best practice to take them home and fillet them if you have the time and energy. But you know, we just don't want them surviving another day.
I don't.
Especially in reservoirs where they haven't already historically been captured. So McIntosh, Gaston, those young populations, it's very critical that we start harvesting fish now and keep a control on them as best we can.
Yeah, I don't think at Bellows anything we do is going to put a dent in that problem.
No, Norman, all the western reservoirs are about played out. Like there ain't much we can do now.
Yeah, that's like unless you drain the lake, you're living with spots, right?
So
pretty much, yeah. We've weighed a few options here and there, but
do you have anything else for blues for us, Seth?
No, that was it. That data is still being worked up, but there'll be a full report about blues coming out real soon.
You fished there recently?
I did. We were there 2 Saturdays ago, and I had a bad turn. I've been plagued with boat motor issues this year, but I think it took 11 pounds to win our deal. 5 fish at 11.
Does Jacob still fish in your club?
Yep, Jacob's there. We've got a good little group this year. We gained about 3 anglers.
Nice.
But yeah, just lots of small Alabama bass in that 1 to 2 pound class there. And please don't release them when you catch them. Fun fishing or tournament fishing, just keep them all. We cannot keep too many. I really don't think we can. They're almost like crappie in that regard.
Right.
One more lake I wanted to ask you about. It's the 4th one on our schedule, and that's Mycko. I know it's in your district, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't have time to get anything together on Mycko, but it's a good middle of the road bass fishery for us. They're actually not running energy at that facility as heavy, so the temperature swing is not quite as drastic as it used to be. It's only about a 4-degree temperature swing now. And I think our average weight there is closer to 2 pounds, whereas at a lot of other reservoirs, it's like 3.25 average. So there's a lot more fish in Mycko so the average size is a little smaller than say your Jordan or your Badens.
Yeah, the place has
a great lake. I mean, it still produces 18 to 22 pound stringers pretty regularly.
Right. Man,
And
there's
you
some
know,
good
it's
fishing
becoming
with
a live
primers and
scope
stuff.
lake. There's a lot of deep water habitat there, a lot of deep structure.
Mm.
So you can fish offshore a lot at Hyco.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have time to throw anything together for Hyco today. We haven't been to Hyco in close to 5 years. I think it's going to come up next spring. We're going to go back to Hyco and shock again.
What are you going on tap this spring for surveys?
We're doing Jordan. We're starting F1 surveys at Jordan. And we're doing Brant in Greensboro.
Nice.
We're going to McIntosh to do a quick little survey there and see what species we catch. And we're going to Little Farmer Lake in Caswell County.
Yeah, it's a nice little lake. Been there a few times.
Yeah. Not as good as the other one to its south, but my buddies aren't allowing me to talk about that one on public forums anymore.
All right, just send me a message when we get off this.
It's due south of Farmer is all I'm going to say. But it's near Farmer.
Well, Seth, we appreciate having you on here, taking the time out. I know you're busy at your fisheries conference.
Yep.
Would love to have you come out and fish with us sometime and do some kayak fishing. But in the meantime, we'll get you back on the show for the second half of the season when we do Falls and Gaston and those lakes.
Yeah, and I'll leave this here. These are all our historical F1 fingerling numbers, so you can see these fish are 2 to 3 inches when we stock them. So we're putting anywhere from 130,000 in Norman and 50 to 90 in Jordan. So hopefully we'll see these become those 10-pounders one day. But we're still many years away from that.
Yeah. What do you think the size are for the ones in Jordan already?
Oh, they're 3 years old now, so they're probably 16 to 18 inches.
That's crazy. It seems like you just put those in like not too long ago. It's 3 years already.
Yeah. Yep, 2023. So June of 23 was the first summer we put 65,000 in.
That's crazy.
And then we followed that up with 92,000. So this age class should be a good one for us. And that'll be, summer of 2027. Those fish will be getting to that meaty size, 27, 28.
Is there a way to tell the difference for common guys?
No. There's a lot of theories, but we're going to have to actually, the ones we catch, we'll have to send genetic samples out for verification.
Okay. So if someone says, "Oh, I got an F1," they're full of crap. They don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some theories about scale counts and this, that, and the other, but there's nothing definitive out there yet.
Gotcha.
And there's actually some geneticists working on like an in-field test where you just like drop a fin sample onto some medium and it tells you right there in the field.
Wow.
That's not available yet.
Gotcha.
And then some of you might have heard that our main trout hatchery is going down for a major renovation overhaul. And we won't be stocking a lot of trout for the next 3 to 5 years. So just be aware of that.
Is that that's the freshwater trout, not the saltwater, right?
Yeah, that's mountain trout.
Okay.
So this is the fishery that was destroyed by the hatchery destroyed by Helene?
No, that one's been repaired, and that one's going to stay online while this one goes down. But this is just a routine, bring it up to the 21st century, make it better, produce more fish.
Nice.
And that was all I had for you guys tonight.
Well, thank you, Seth. I appreciate it. It was really informative. It got me thinking about these lakes.
Yeah, and then feel free to call or email us anytime. Reach out to us. Reach out to the Two Wild Biologists, and we'll get the answers anybody needs to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, man. I appreciate all the support you give, and we're going to be working with Hobie Eyewear again, doing a cleanup.
Okay, sounds great.
Unfortunately, it's the 27th because we're going to be at Hyco that day. So I'm trying to work around how we're going to figure that out. But I had a talk with Dylan today. We're talking about doing another cleanup at Jordan Lake. So
okay, that'd be summertime again.
Yeah, he's got June 27th.
June 27th. Okay.
Yeah. So we're working again with Clean Jordan Lake guys and gals. So Should be
Awesome.
good. So,
Sounds good.
yeah, if anyone's not going to fish Heiko, we got something else for you to do that would be super beneficial, especially after, was it Helene or whatever, just made a mess, whatever it was, the last one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Chantel.
Chantel, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. Apparently it just reset all the mess everywhere. So it's,
Yeah.
starting over again. So what are you going to do?
What can you do?
Yeah. That's why we need to do this all the time, and we need to do more lakes. So yeah, any guys want to help clean up, maybe we'll do a double and we'll let them do Jordan. We'll do Heiko.
Yeah, and if you get it on our calendar early enough, we can bring our big pontoon for any of those. We'll just
Nice.
need several weeks heads up to make sure we got the staff and
Okay.
availability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that email over to you from with Dylan and stuff to kind of coordinate some of that stuff. So
Yeah.
good deal.
Cool.
And then I got the
Hey,
meeting.
Seth, have a good time in Louisiana.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
have a good one, Lee. Thanks for coming. That was awesome. That's some good info.
Amazing. I just have to say this too about the particular district office where he works. It's
Mhm.
so cool. They have, an office building with all their offices, the biologists and meeting rooms and staff rooms and stuff. And then there's this huge like hangar with bay doors, and they have all of their boats in there. They have the pontoon boats for electroshocking. They have like the boats that they take out to zip around the lakes with the big outboards. When they're checking licenses, you see those on trailers sometimes at lakes, like the enforcement boats.
Right.
And then you've got smaller like John boat rigs, and then they've got a bunch of canoes and kayaks. They have a whole fleet of native kayaks in there. Um, and that's what we took out. I did a fish. So they have the kayaks and canoes because when they do sampling in certain river basins, they can't get into some of those little creeks.
Mhm.
So they brought me along, and I think Dave Hart did that too. And we did on different days, and we went down this really shallow sandy creek off of the Dan River and collected fish, and um, they did genetic testing on them and stuff, and we had a little like friendly tournament, between the three of us, and to see who caught the most and all that kind of thing. It was fun, man. Um, and there's one of those district offices in every area of the state. They have it set up in different regions, right?
Yeah, they
So
got
I
different
encourage
districts.
everyone to find out where their local district office is, and get to know those people because they're a great resource. And if you ever have a question like, is this an invasive fish, or you caught something weird, you call them up, they'll shoot right out and collect it and take it back
Yeah.
and tell you what it was.
Yeah, and they got the two ball guys fishing podcast as well.
Oh yeah.
Worth following those dudes. The listen to those things. I've learned so many things, even when it doesn't have to do with bass. Just understanding the whole ecosystem that we fish in.
Mm-hmm.
And those, they always have the biologists from each district. They'll bring them in and discuss each district, so you can get a lot of good information from that podcast too.
Great stuff. I love the public outreach that they're doing. Obviously, I'm biased because of my work with the magazine, but
Right,
getting
right.
out in the field with the actual scientists and the biologists is such an informative experience. The way they look at the water, you can hear it like the way he talks. They just understand every level of life that the bass rely on, or any fish relies on, um,
Right.
in a healthy fishery. So the way he explained Jordan Lake and the water quality there, amazing.
Right, right. And then you got like the Harris Habitat Project that they work on. They're trying to make it better. I mean, people, they want all the hydrilla in there. I kind of want all the hydrilla in there, but I work with them and we got a meeting coming up with them to get a little heads up on what's coming up. Yeah, they're trying to make it better. They do great things, and if you have questions, these guys that they're right on it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know that
really
in
is.
other places you can get that kind of response that we get here in North Carolina.
Yeah, and the fact that they recognize the kayak community, um, and what we do and work with us is really great because, um, that's good for everybody. They build ramps for us. They do all kinds of things,
Yeah.
because now we have their attention. So you
Yep.
see more kayak specific ramps around the state, for paddlecraft, and more policies and regulations that support what we do, because we don't want to be ignored. We do a lot for the state, man. We spend money here and fish
Yeah.
here and travel and do all that kind of stuff. So it's good to have cooperation and partnership.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're all buying fishing licenses, paying ramp fees, doing all these things. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
everyone's voice kind of matters, including wake boat voices, which, we can't stand them, but they have a right to. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I try to advocate for banning them, but it doesn't work. I
You just
tried,
kind
man. I
of give them the
tried.
side eye at the ramp, you know.
Yeah, yeah, we do that a lot, and they kind of just, say, "Okay, I'll see you on the lake later," and flush us out. But yeah, we're kind of at a disadvantage on that situation.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. Let's bring him back some more. He's a good guy too. I really
Yeah, he's
enjoy
fun
it.
to talk to. He was great to work with. We worked with, like I said, I brought up Hobie, the Hobie eyewear cleanup that with um, Jacobson, the elite angler, puts on this every year to clean up lakes. That's his passion, his project, and we work with him to do that on our end. So, and it was great that Seth, NC Wildlife, Clean Jordan, like all those guys came together,
Mm.
and we cleaned up a lot of crap in Jordan last year, and we're going to do it again this year. So,
Yeah,
yeah, anytime, we get help from you guys, it's appreciated. I know Will Lambert, Drew Blair all showed up last year, and a few other guys. If I can't remember your name, don't mention your name, sorry, but yeah, it's great having that support and showing up, and
Mm.
we want to do more of that because we want more Jordan Lake fishing factories that kick ass in the state. So
yeah. I mean, look, they poured a bunch of F1 stock into. They stocked Jordan with F1, you
hmm
know, um, and they're doing that to get ahead of the Alabama bass that are coming downstream. So
right,
um, that's amazing. Like that they're trying to stay ahead of it and think preventively, and we're all going to benefit from that for decades to come, because we're working together to solve shared problems and enhance these fisheries,
right,
which is amazing, because I remember 15 years ago, the first kayak tournaments, it was like we weren't on anybody's radar.
no,
I mean,
no,
CKA didn't even exist, but like I remember going to the first Carolina Yakfish tournament at Harris, and it was the biggest tournament anyone had had up to that point in North Carolina. There was like 50 plus kayakers there, and there was a front over the lake in the region, and it was a 3 fish limit, and guys were just checking in 60-plus inch bags left and right. And this is back when Harris was like at the height of its power as a big bass fishery.
hmm
And everyone at like the people at the ramp who were coming over to see what the hell we were up to, they were like, "What are you all doing here? Like, are you out? What's happening?" Like they
all
were
right,
confused that there were even fishing kayaks. Like they hadn't even heard of the platform that we use. You know what I mean? So we
right,
went from 15 years ago, nobody even understood what we were doing, to like now you look and see these guys, and they have us involved in the Harris project. CKA is a partner for that habitat project, because
right,
I if I'm out there fishing and I see like one of the vegetation cages is ruined, I take a picture, drop a pin, and I send it over and say, "Hey, come fix this one. It's got a boat hit it or something."
right, right.
And they
Something
appreciate
happened.
that because they can't be out there all the time. So I
Right.
give them
Yeah,
feedback.
good bring up on that too. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or you see things like that or whatever, you can let me know. I do attend all the meetings and I get contacts there for that project. Uh, Hank also participates in some of that when he gets a chance. So yeah, letting us know and giving us questions, we can relay that stuff if you want and get answers for it. And I have no problem. Like we're going to be doing these lives. We're going to try to do them every week. We can have those discussions too. So should be
Yep.
interesting.
Awesome. All right, buddy. What else? We got stuff to do next week before the tournament, right? So rules and
Yeah.
things like that, sponsor stuff.
Yeah, we got some things to do, and next Thursday will be the captain's meeting, first captain's meeting of 2026 for the Bellew's Lake, a Blues. I don't know how. I'm gonna get roasted probably for saying it wrong all the time, but it took me a while to get Graham Evan down, so bear with me. I let out. I did this let out a little while ago. One of the northeastern, what do you call it? The dialect, whatever, snuck out because we don't say our I's up north, but we'll throw the I in where it doesn't belong, like I dear, which I think I said earlier, and I caught myself and I was like, son of a gun.
Well, you got that Boston English. I don't want to hear about that Yankee stuff there.
Yeah, that's how we roll, man.
You got that Harvard English.
Yeah, the Harvard. You gotta go park your car. It's all good. But I've always hated the accent. That's the word, the accent. I couldn't remember. But I always rebelled against the New England accent. So couldn't wait to get down here and be away from it forever.
Yeah. I like it, man. I like that kind of stuff. Like I was saying at the start of the show, I like hearing the way people talk and all the different little things that you get. The variety that you get, man, it's a good thing. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next week. I think actually Seth might have persuaded me. I was gonna go head up the Eno or the Flat tomorrow, take a day off, but I think I'll head over to Jordan and see what's happening there.
Yeah, I was at Jordan during the last winter event, and I was having a hard time finding stuff going on, but it just had the feeling that any moment this is gonna fire off. So I think, and with this weather, I'm seeing a bunch of bloom and stuff. And I think the last time there was some bloom in an early year, you were drifting a jig somewhere. Like I remember that article you wrote.
Just lift it every 30 seconds. Just give it a hop. One hop every 30 seconds. Just let it sit there. Just hop it once.
There you
go. It was the most boring fishing. I forced myself to do it, but paid off.
That's it. Sometimes you got to do the thing.
Yep. All right, buddy.
All right, man. Well, good job. We'll talk to you next week.
Hold on, fist bump. All right. So I'll see you next week. Thanks everyone for checking in.
Yeah, absolutely. See you all later.